Hiya, it's Owlet here. No wig today, but I just finished watching the episode like literally 5 minutes ago, and so my brain's kind of just like with because like what was that episode? That was like no episode of Sherlock I have ever seen before, and I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing, but it definitely felt like it was a completely different show. Like, I knew the faces and I knew the characters, but they were saying things and doing things that they have never done before. Like, I was smiling and laughing for almost the entire first hour. It was just bizarre. I do feel like, though, that it's like a massive inconsistency in between the first two seasons and what we've seen so far. And I was reading about how people have suspected that Sherlock is having some kind of breakdown, and I definitely think there are signs of that, like how in the first episode back, as in the empty hearse, he was talking to himself when John wasn't there and kind of berating himself in his head, and he was missing obvious things. And again in this episode he's missing really obvious things. Like, I would have thought that he would notice that the brigade soldier who was killed was not actually dead. I thought he would have come to deductions a lot faster than he did, but then I think the show has kind of programmed us to think like that. But I don't know if he was off his A game due to anxiety and stress about the wedding, which he very well may have been, but it kind of just follows on from the previous episode. Also, he seems almost really infantile in this episode, like very childish, and I don't understand the mind games that he's playing with Mary and John. Like, he's pretending that he's he's pretending to find the case for John, and he's pretending to go along with John's, oh, I can't stand this wedding planning stuff, but I think he'd be able to see through those lies. Like, he knows how to read those body signals. Like, it could be him just playing a character, but he seems very genuine in all these things that he's doing. Like, his confusion is genuine, but I don't know if he's trying to fool us or if he is genuinely that confused. And then if he is, I'm very concerned, because he is not the deductionist we know and love. And then the Bucks night was, I don't even know what. It was like the pilot that we used to have. It was like the pilot that was originally aired for Sherlock, when he pretends to be drunk and he throws white wine on his face, and also when he then gets drugged by the cabbie and he's all slurred speech and wibbly walking, and it was hilarious. Like, I have no idea what was in those shots though, because even if they were drinking like several beers, they should not have been that drunk. So I'm concerned that they were spiked, because I know John did 2 shots and put one of those shots into that flask, and the flasks were hilarious. I really liked that little bit of detail. But either they did more shots than they showed us on screen, or something was up. But I found that them going to that ghost case and passing out on the floor, his deductions when he was like, city thing, deaded, he thought that the skull was deaded. It kind of reminded me of that YouTube parody video where he makes so many deductions that he can't see past all the text. It was like that, only they were drunk and it was really on the show, which is like crazy. I thought Mary was fantastic. I really like her. She's like my new favorite. She is adorable and also really like intelligent and very well adjusted to John and Sherlock's situation and relationship and friendship and just everything. She's so great. She takes it all in his stride. I find it very weird that Sherlock still doesn't know Greg's name. Like, it was a bit of a funny bit when he came back, but I feel like now he would have probably got that down packed, unless he's just doing it to purposely annoy Lestrade, which could very well be the case. Mycroft in this on the treadmill, like, seriously, I can't even believe that this was in the show. I thought that was fantastic. The brotherly banter is a bit weird. It drove me crazy how everyone kept being like, oh, getting married changes you, completely changes you in your life. Because as I pointed out in the previous video, it doesn't actually change that much in the book, which I'm hoping the show sticks to. But it was kind of cool to get Mrs. Hudson's ex-husband's backstory. That was awesome. If that's the reason that we have to hear about how marriage changes everything, then that's fine. Also, I think they were doing that to purposely like shake up Sherlock. I mean, he didn't need any encouraging. He was already there. At the wedding, the final scenes, like this show, it made me laugh so much, and like I was smiling, and then the last 2 minutes just broke my heart completely. Like, why would you do that? He's standing there and he thinks he's being smiled at by the bridesmaid, which he genuinely smiles back warmly and goes over to dance with her, which again, definitely not the Sherlock that we knew. And then he has no one and he just stands there awkwardly, and even Molly can see him, but she's moved on, and it was just so sad. I was like, no! It was so unexpectedly heartbreaking. I also find it crazy fascinating how different Benedict looks when he plays Sherlock. Like, I've seen Benedict in a few things, and his facial expressions, and maybe it's perhaps how they light him as well, but they are completely alien in comparison to his other characters. He doesn't even look like the same actor, which is like amazing, and mad props to the makeup department, the filming, and Benedict Cumberbatch just for being that versatile. I feel like he should have been able to work out, I feel like the case itself was really confusing. Like, I don't know how they didn't notice that they were being stabbed with the thin blade, which I'm assuming was kind of like a meat thermometer. I mean, it wasn't obviously a meat thermometer, though it probably could have been. I just felt like there was kind of a few plot holes, but maybe I read it wrong. I mean, watched it wrong. I don't really know. I don't think I've actually read the story that this one's based on, so I could be all muddled. I feel like it was just like a mashup of all these crazy, like, it felt like an alternative universe episode of Sherlock. That is the best way to describe it. Like, even that little kid that Sherlock took under his wing, like, that literally felt like Tumblr again. I feel like this entire season was written by Tumblr, and maybe it is just fan servicing us, and like, fine, that's great. I mean, we've waited 2 years. At this point, I'm like happy to not take the show seriously and just be like, woo, we did it, we wrote the show, we managed to infiltrate the writing system. Because that Hamish Watson middle name thing, there's that whole Tumblr AU where like John and Sherlock adopt a kid and name it Hamish, and they're like, woo, babies. Oh, I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I didn't like the whole, oh, she's pregnant thing, because I don't know if that's canon. But it just felt really rushed and also the fact that he kept saying deductions that he wasn't expecting, that was a bit weird. I was like, Sherlock, get your head in the game, you know, High School Musical style. And then he was like singing and dancing, and he did a ballet twirl. Oh my gosh, people, he went like this. But like way more balletically graceful, and it was just crazy awesome. There were so many things that I liked. I just liked it. It was great. A few more things about the stag night. Oh my goodness, I could spend an entire video discussing that stag night because that was ridiculous. But the celebrity heads with Sherlock having Sherlock on his head and John Watson having Madonna was... it was ridiculous. But I mean that in the best possible way. I loved that John was like, yes, but I'm a pretty lady. And I love that Sherlock assumed then that he was John Watson because he annoys people. Basically, the entire friendship went to a whole new level in this episode. Like, it really exposed how much they mean to each other. I think that you got to see a more sensitive side, but a more genuine side as well. And even though Sherlock's speech went for an hour in terms of episode, like an actual hour, I have been to functions where people have spoken, and even if it wasn't an hour, it was pretty close to it and it felt like it, so I knew how the guests were feeling. And as great as Benedict's voice is, I think if anyone speaks at a wedding for an hour, I would stop them and be like, could you sit down now? That's great, let's do the summary, cheers. Short and simple, but then that wouldn't be Sherlock. Nothing about him is short or simple, but he's not as tall as everybody thinks. This is getting off topic, I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. It's fitting because it's like the episode. Basically, stag do. Awesome. Dubstep. There was dubstep in Sherlock. Let's just take a moment to appreciate that. And by appreciate that, I mean I'm not a fan of dubstep, but like it was a thing that was in it. And then he was like, you know, I know everything about Ash. And then he was also like, I've forgotten what I'm actually famous for. It was just nuts. And that was brilliant. It was the most brilliant un-Sherlock episode of Sherlock I have ever seen. And I wouldn't think that I would enjoy how much it was not like Sherlock, but I did, and there you go. So I'll see you all next episode. Toodles!